Ready?
Yeah, ready, Judah.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, Judah.
And welcome to another celebration of the creation of the universe and all that there is in it. And God hallowed this seventh day because it is sacred, because on this day he had ceased from creation. And in Genesis, he tells the story of creation and how in 6 days he created all there is. And on the seventh, there was no need to do any more creating because he had completed it. But he hallowed this day that we are to remember from the beginning of creation. This is not a new day. It's a day that was set aside from the beginning of creation. And we thank the Lord for this time, that we are honoring that creation and remembering and obeying God's command to remember this day and to cease from our labors also. When Israel came out of Egypt and God gave them manna, each day they were to collect a certain amount. If they kept some over, it spoiled. But on the 6th day, they collected twice as much, but it did not spoil on the Shabbat. So John is fond of saying,
the Sabbath day is on God.
And God has prepared a sumptuous feast for us this evening. As in Jewish homes across the world, they plan, I think from the moment one Shabbat ends, they're planning for the next as to what the menu is going to be. And the menu is elaborate in a lot of homes. Many courses, use the best silverware, the best linen, and also the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament, has been divided into 52 sections. And the section for this week is Shoftim, which means judges. And it's taken from Deuteronomy 16, verse 18 through chapter 21, verse 9. And it reads, Shoftim ve shofrim tit dalecha bekol sha'arecha asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha leshavtitecha lishaftu et ha'am mishpat sadak. You shall appoint magistrates and officials for your tribes in all of the settlements that the Lord your God has given you, and they shall govern the people with due justice.
Psalm 120. In my distress I cried unto the Lord, and he heard me. Deliver my soul, O Lord, from lying lips and from a deceitful tongue. What will be given unto thee, or what shall be done unto thee, thou false tongue? Sharp arrows of the mighty with coals of juniper. Woe is me that I sojourn in Mishah, that I dwell in the tents of Kedar. My soul has long dwelt with him that hates peace. I am for peace, but when I speak, they are for war. This is the word of the Lord. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. May your kingdom come, and may your will be done. We give thanks to you, Lord, for you have brought us into your Shabbat, the day you cease from creation and blessed and commanded your people after bringing them out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, reaffirmed with them that they should rest on this day, to acknowledge to God through power and might, has freed them and delivered them from the house of bondage, and creating this day that through it they will be blessed and all the world will be blessed. And we give thanks to you, Lord God, for remembering your Sabbath and for giving it to us again to remind us of your great power and might, and that we are to grow each day through it, for it nourishes us. And also we celebrate with our brethren the Jews, for Christ has come and has brought us out, purchased us from the market of slavery, freeing us that we may celebrate as well. Celebrate our freedom and giving thanks to the God who has come for us. And this celebration is through worship and study and prayer and giving thanks and songs and deeds of caring and giving. And we give thanks to you, Lord. We pray that you will be with us all this Sabbath day and through the other days of the week as we fulfill our purpose. And we pray that you will help us and be with us. We give thanks to the Son who has come for us and will come again, the Spirit that remains with us, that teaches us, and you, Lord God, who has created us. We give thanks, and in the name of the Christ we pray. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min sawa. Blessed art you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who gives us bread from the earth. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam berei pri hagafen. Blessed art you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who gives us the fruit of the vine. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, Judith.
All right. In my Torah, Shoftim is divided into, let's see, 3 sections. The first being administration of law and state 1, Deuteronomy 16:18 through 18:8. Part 2, administration of law and state 2, Deuteronomy 18:9 through 19:21, and administration of law and state 3, Deuteronomy 21 through 21:9. You shall appoint magistrates and officials for your tribes in all of the settlements that the Lord your God is giving you, and they shall govern the people with due justice. You shall not judge unfairly. You shall show no partiality, You shall not take bribes, for bribes blind the eyes of the discerning and upset the plea of the just. Justice shall you pursue, that you may thrive and occupy the land that the Lord your God is giving you. You shall not set up a sacred post, any kind of pole beside the altar of the Lord your God that you may make, or erect a stone pillar, for such the Lord your God detests. You shall not sacrifice to the Lord your God an ox or a sheep that has any defect of a serious kind, for that is abhorrent to the Lord your God. If there is found among you in one of the settlements which the Lord your God is giving you a man or a woman who has affronted the Lord your God and transgressed his covenant, turning to the worship of other gods and bowing down to them, to the sun or the moon or any of the heavenly hosts, something I never commanded, and you have been informed or are learned of it, then you shall make a thorough inquiry if it is true. The fact is established that abhorrent thing was perpetrated in Israel. You shall take the man or the woman who did that wicked thing out to the public place, and you shall stone them, man or woman, to death. A person shall be put to death only on the testimony of 2 or more witnesses. He must not be put to death on the testimony of a single witness. Let the hands of the witness be the first against him to put him to death, and the hands of the rest of the people thereafter. Thus you will sweep out evil from your midst. If a case is too baffling for you to decide, be it a controversy over homicide, civil law, or assault, matters of dispute in your courts, you shall promptly repair to the place which the Lord your God will have chosen, and appear before the Levitical priest or the magistrate in charge at the time, and present your problem, when they have announced to you the verdict in the case. And you shall carry the verdict that is announced to you from that place which the Lord chose, observing scrupulously all their instructions to you. You shall act in accordance with the instructions given you and the ruling handed down to you. You must not deviate from the verdict that they announce to you, either to the right or to the left. Should a man act presumptuously and disregard the priest charged with serving there the Lord your God, or the magistrate, that man shall die. Thus you shall sweep out evil from Israel. All the people will hear and be afraid, and will act presumptuously, and will not act presumptuously again. If after you have entered the land that the Lord your God has given you, and occupied it and settled in it, you decide, I will set a king over me, as do all the nations about me. You shall be free to set a king over yourself, one chosen by the Lord your God. Be sure to set a king over yourselves, one of your own people. You must not set a foreigner over you, one who is not your kinsman. Moreover, he shall not keep many horses or send people back to Egypt to add to his horses. Since the Lord has warned you, you must not go back to that way again. And he shall not have many wives, lest his heart go astray, nor shall he amass silver and gold to excess. When he is seated in his royal throne, he shall have a copy of this teaching written for him on a scroll by the Levitical priest. Let it remain with him, and let him read it in all his life, so that he may learn to revere the Lord his God, to observe faithfully every word of this teaching, as well as these laws. Thus he will not act haughtily toward his fellows, or deviate from the instructions to the right or to the left, to the end that he and his descendants may reign long in the midst of Israel. The Levitical priests, the whole tribe of Levi, shall have no territorial portion with Israel. They shall live only off the Lord's offerings by fire as their portion, and shall have no portion among their brother tribes. The Lord is their portion, as he promised them. This then shall be the priest's due from the people. Everyone who offers a sacrifice, whether an ox or a sheep, must give the shoulder, the cheeks, and the stomach to the priest. You shall also give him the first fruits of your new grain and wine and oil, and the first shearing of your sheep. For the Lord your God has chosen him and his descendants out of all your tribes to be in attendance for service in the name of the Lord for all time. If a Levite would go from any of the settlements throughout Israel where he has been residing to the place that the Lord has chosen, he may do so wherever he pleases. He may serve in the name of the Lord his God like all his fellow Levites who are there in attendance before the Lord. They shall receive equal shares of the dues without regard to personal gifts or patrimonies.
Okay, that's quite a bit here.
Yeah, really.
I guess we could be here a long time. But there are a couple of things that I'm going to mention. And I think we've mentioned them once before. The one that, I'll pick the one that stands out first. In verse 8, it says, this has to do with the judges and people bringing their, well, let me back up here. This starts out with judges, and that's what the Shoftim means, judges. And verse 16, chapter 16, verse 18, speaks about about judges and officers. And the idea here is a society can't exist without a system of justice. Good or bad, you could say warts and all, society has to have a system of justice.
Yes.
You may not like it, you may think it's wrong, but there's no system of justice that man can come up with that's perfect. But you still need it. You can't just say, we're going to do away with it. It's needed and you got to have it. Judges make decisions and judges don't know everything. That's verse 8, why I kind of smile. It says, if there arise a matter too hard for thee in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, what do? Well, they have to go to a higher court, and this is the place where God will choose. This will be Jerusalem. Judges don't know everything. Doctors don't know everything. People don't know everything, and there's nothing wrong with saying I don't know, and seeking another opinion. So this is pretty. I guess I like this because the scripture acknowledges the weakness of an individual. Even God can pick them. They're not going to know everything. Only one person knows everything, and that's God. But we have to rely on other folks. Now, sometimes you'll get a decision from the judge, and you won't like it. One teacher gave the example, when you're facing the judge, your right hand is his left hand, and his left hand is your right hand. So you are combatants. You're not on the same page, and he may render a decision. And I think that the lesson points it out. He may render a decision that you think is completely wrong, but you still got to follow it. Because you think his decision is wrong, it could be the right decision. But even so, God says it really doesn't matter. His decision, you have to follow it. The only time when right is right and left is left is when you follow. Yeah, I found that very interesting. We're not opposed to God. We don't. Maybe that's the idea. We don't stand God face to face, because our right is his wrong, and his wrong is our right. And it's kind of interesting. And the only way we acknowledge that God is right and we are wrong is when we follow him. That's when our right is on his right and our left is on his left. It's when we follow. So I don't know. I don't know if that has any bearing on we can't see God face to face, because that built-in antagonistic antagonism. I don't know, but it would be interesting. Also, this the idea of the people wanting to select a king, and God gives a qualification of what the king should do or should be. And why does the king? Why does he don't want the? I'm not sure I understand that part. I can understand being one, not having a foreigner over you because you wouldn't accept him.
Right.
But why not? He should not multiply horses to him, the horses to himself.
Well, you know, I was thinking as I'm naming all those things he shouldn't do. You know who did all of that?
Yeah, Solomon.
Solomon did all of that, didn't he?
Well,
and to his hurt.
Well,
to his hurt.
But why horses? It does add another sentence. Says, "But you shall not multiply horses to yourself, nor cause people to return to Egypt to get those horses." Well, it says to end that he should not multiply horses. He didn't want them going horses because they would. You multiply horses, where are you going to get the horses from? You're going to get them from Egypt. Didn't want them going down to Egypt to get horses. And I'm not sure I understand why.
Because they may be tempted to stay. Because like they were complaining, say, oh, we had all these things back in Egypt.
Could be.
We had the leeks and we had this and that.
Okay. Having many wives, this one is definitely,
Solomon.
you could say, yes, and you could say, well, because all those women will turn your heart away. The wisest man fell for it, and should not get a lot of money. Should not seek a lot of money. But there was a time when the priest, what was it, Samuel? Why did
Or Nathan who?
I was thinking that
Samuel?
Samuel, the one who appointed Saul as king.
Oh, Samuel.
What was the problem there? Well, Samuel picked judges, but those judges were corrupt, and the people objected to his sons being picked because they were so corrupt, and said, "We want a king." Now, and God gave a different reason as to saying why they wanted a king. He said they wanted a king because they rejected him. But here he says they could have a king. But
God
just
was
like all
going
other
to choose it.
nations. Yeah.
But God would choose it, and God chose Saul.
Yeah, he chose Saul. And maybe the idea was, I'm not exactly sure, but there was nothing but the idea when God said he was rejected, he allowed them to have a king because they rejected him. But obviously God knows better than I know. I'm not going to say God is wrong about that. But they just didn't like the man Samuel had selected. And one person said Saul was pretty young when he was selected, was chosen as king. Saying basically was chosen at birth. But maybe there's a difference between when you're chosen to be the king and when you're anointed to be the king. I don't. To me, they both happen at the same time, but maybe not. You can say, well, God has omnipotent knowledge, and he knew who was going to be the king, so he was chosen at birth. So maybe there's a point there. But I think I'm going to stop here with the idea is that judges don't know everything like everybody else, and they have to feel the decision You may dislike the decision.
Mm-hmm.
You may think it's wrong when in fact it's right, or you may think you're right and the judges are wrong. You have to follow the judge's decision.
Okay, the second part, administration of law and state, part 2. Deuteronomy 18:9 through 19:21. When you enter the land that the Lord your God is giving you, you shall not learn to imitate the abhorrent practices of those nations. Let no one be found among you who consigns his son or daughter to the fire, or who is an augur or a soothsayer, a diviner, a sorcerer, one who casts spells, or one who consults ghosts or familiar spirits, or one who inquires of the dead. For anyone who does such thing is abhorrent to the Lord, and it is because of these abhorrent things that the Lord your God is dispossessing them before you. You must be wholehearted with your Lord your God. Those nations that you are about to dispossess do indeed resort to soothsayers and augurs. To you, however, the Lord your God has not assigned the like. The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet from among your own people, like myself. Him you shall heed. This is just what you asked of the Lord your God at Horeb on the day of the assembly, saying, Let me not hear the voice of the Lord my God any longer, or see this wondrous fire any more, lest I die. Whereupon the Lord said to me, They have done well in speaking this. Thus, I will raise up a prophet for them from among their own people, like yourselves. I will put my words in your mouth, and he will speak to them all that I command him. And if anybody fails to heed the words he speaks in my name, I myself will call him to account. But any prophet who presumes to speak in my name an oracle which I did not command him to utter, or who speaks in the name of other gods, that prophet shall die. And should you ask yourselves, how can we know that the oracle was not spoken by the Lord? If the prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, and the oracle does not come true, that oracle was not spoken by the Lord. The prophet has uttered it presumptuously. Do not stand in dread of him. When the Lord your God has cut down the nations whose land the Lord your God is giving you, and you have dispossessed them and settled in their towns and homes, you shall set aside 3 cities in the land that the Lord your God is giving you to possess. You shall survey the distances and divide unto 3 parts of the territory of the country that the Lord your God has allotted to you, so that any manslayer may have a place to flee. Now, this is the case of the manslayer who may flee there and live, one who has killed another unwittingly, without having been his enemy in the past. For instance, a man goes with his neighbor into a grove to cut wood. As his hand swings the axe to cut down a tree, the axe head flies off the handle and strikes the other so that he dies. That man shall flee to one of these cities and live. Otherwise, when the distance is great, the blood avenger pursuing the manslayer in hot anger may overtake him and kill him. Yet he did not incur the death penalty, since he had never been the other's enemy. That is why I command you, set aside 3 cities, and when the Lord your God enlarges your territory, as he swore to your fathers, and gives you all the land that he promised to give your fathers, if you faithfully observe all this instructions, which I enjoin upon you this day, to love the Lord your God, and to walk in his ways at all times, then you shall add 3 more towns to those 3. Thus, blood of the innocent will not be shed, bringing blood guilt upon you and the land that the Lord your God is allotting to you. If, however, a man who is his neighbor's enemy lies in wait for him, and sets upon him and strikes him a fatal blow, and then flees to one of these towns, the elders of his town shall have him brought back from there, and shall hand him over to the blood avenger to be put to death. You must show him no pity. Thus you will purge Israel of the blood out of the innocent, and it will go well with you. You shall not move your neighbor's landmarks set up by previous generations in the property that will be allotted to you in the land that the Lord your God has given you to possess. A single witness may not validate against a person any guilt or blame for any offense that may be committed. A case can be valid only on the testimony of 2 witnesses or more. If a man appears against another to testify maliciously and gives false testimony against him, the 2 parties to the dispute shall appear before the Lord, before the priest or magistrates in authority at the time, and the magistrate shall make a thorough investigation. If the man who testifies is a false prophet, if he has testified falsely against his fellow man, you shall do to him as he schemed to do to his fellow. Thus you will sweep out evil from your midst. Others will hear and be afraid, and such evil things will not again be done in your midst. Nor must you show pity, life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot.
Oh, okay. One thing that I guess I kind of overlooked at first, in verse 18, chapter 18, verse 13, says, "Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God." And you say, well, gee, wait a minute. How can we absolutely be perfect? I think we can achieve a level of perfection, and the verses before that, I understand them to tell us, to give us some insight on how that's done. And this has to do with there shall not be found among any of you that maketh the son or your daughter to pass through the fire, or to use divination, or observer of times, or enchanter, or a witch. Those are the things that are that cause us to be imperfect. Those are the practices, and by not practicing those things, we can achieve a level of perfection. Because this is, I think they use the word, these things are an abomination. These things are a mistake. In the sense that God doesn't make mistakes. If we were to not make that mistake, we've reached a level of perfection. We're not necessarily perfect, but we've reached a level of perfection. I did make a comment about the witnesses. The witness, a person may be willing to lie about a person, or say cheat or exaggerate certain things, but he's probably not willing to kill that person. So you go to trial and you say that this person, I don't know, is a cheat, and if the penalty is only that he has to pay some money, or he gets a whipping or something like that, yeah, you may lie about him. But the idea of what you say about him causes his death, and you would be the one to throw the stone first to kill that person. I think some people would not go that far. Plus, you can't have just one witness; you need at least 2. And I guess it's the idea of a trial. If you say the person's guilty, then you would be the one involved in execution. You'd be the first one. I don't know. Sometimes you might be a little intimidated too. And I guess this also comes the idea of perfect justice, of perfect judgment. You shouldn't be intimidated by who that person is on trial. Now, if it's a mafia boss, I don't know if I'd want to find a mafia boss guilty of anything. I guess this is why some judges may end up going into witness protection or something like that. But we're not to be intimidated by the victim.
No.
And bribe, okay, you can understand that, but nah, the mafia boss, nah. So, but I think I'm going to stop there.
Okay. All right. The next one is administration of law and state 3. Deuteronomy 21 through 21:9. Make sure I got it right there. When you take the field against your enemies and see horses and chariots, forces larger than yours, have no fear of them, for the Lord your God, who brought you from the land of Egypt, is with you. Before you join battle, the priest shall come forward and address the troops. He shall say to them, Hear, O Israel, you are about to join battle with your enemy. Let not your courage falter. Do not be in fear, or in panic, or in dread of them. For it is the Lord your God who marches with you to do battle for you against your enemy, to bring you victory. Then the officials shall address the troops as follows. Is there anyone who has built a new house, but has not dedicated it? Let him go back to his home, lest he die in battle, and another dedicates it. Is there anyone who has planted a vineyard, but has never harvested it? Let him go back to his home, lest he die in battle, and another initiate it. Is there anyone who has paid the bride price for a wife, who has not yet married her? Let him go back to his home, lest he die in battle, and another marry her. The official shall go on addressing the troops and say, Is there anyone afraid and disheartened? Let him go back to his home, lest the courage of his comrades flag like his. When the officials have finished addressing the troops, army commanders shall assume command of the troops. When you approach a town to attack it, you shall offer it terms of peace. If it responds peaceably and lets you in, all the people present there shall serve you at forced labor. If it does not surrender to you, but would join battle with you, you shall lay siege to it. And when the Lord your God delivers it into your hand, you shall put all its males to the sword. You may, however, take as your booty the women, the children, the livestock, and everything in the town, all its spoil, and enjoy the use of the spoil of your enemy, which the Lord your God gives you. That you shall deal with all towns that lie far from you, towns that do not belong to nations hereabout. And the towns of the latter peoples, however, which the Lord your God is giving you as a heritage, you shall not let a soul remain alive. No, you must prescribe them, the Hittites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, as the Lord your God has commanded you, lest they lead you into doing all the abhorrent things that they have done for their gods, and you stand guilty before the Lord your God. When in your war against the city you have to besiege it a long time in order to capture it, you must not destroy its trees, wielding the axe against them. You may eat of them, but you must not cut them down. Are trees of the field human to withdraw? Are trees of the field human to withdraw before you into the besieged city? Only trees which you know do not yield food may be destroyed. You may not cut them down for constructing siege works against the city that is waging war on you until it has been reduced. If in the land that the Lord your God is giving you to possess to someone slain is found lying in the open, the identity of the slayer not being known, your elders and magistrates shall go out and measure the distance of the corpse to the nearby towns. The elders of the town nearby to the corpse shall then take a heifer which has never been worked, which has never pulled a yoke, and the elders of the town shall bring the heifer down to a rugged wadi, which is not tilled or sown. There in the wadi they shall break the heifer's neck. The priests, sons of Levi, shall come forward, for the Lord your God has chosen them to minister to him and to pronounce blessing in the name of the Lord. And every lawsuit and case of assault is subject to their ruling. Then all the elders of the town nearest to the corpse shall wash their hands over the heifer whose neck was broken in the wadi, and they shall make this declaration: Our hands did not shed this blood, nor did our eyes see it done. Absolve, O Lord, your people Israel, whom you redeem, and do not let guilt for the blood of the innocent remain among your people Israel, and they will be absolved of blood guilt. Thus you will remove from your midst guilt for the blood of the innocent, for you will be doing what is right in the sight of the Lord.
Okay, this is the person was found dead and no one knows who killed him. So who's, I guess for any person murdered, someone's responsible for it. And the way God determines who's responsible. If you don't know who did it, then it's the closest town to where he was found dead. Now, why do you pick the closest town? The Jewish community is supposed to be a welcoming community. They're supposed, if someone comes into town, they're supposed to welcome him. And when he leaves town, he should have a little escort to help him on his way to get outside the city limit and close to the next town. So once they're close to the next town, that town should have a welcoming committee out there to welcome any strangers that come into that town. So since you didn't have a welcoming committee and someone was found closest to your town, then you're responsible for it. It's this is how the city, they may not be responsible, but they're accountable for it, and they lose a heifer because of it. But maybe a heifer was pretty expensive, hard to say. But the idea here is accountability, and you should be hospitable to people who are coming to your town and those who are leaving your town. It's hard to say if this person was coming or going, but it really doesn't matter if he's coming or going. You should have a welcoming committee out there for him, and if he's leaving your town, you should also have people to escort him on his way. The other point I wanted to mention was Moses goes through this history lesson. Oh, this is when they're picking soldiers to go to war. I guess the couple of first few ideas, if you have a bride, or if you had a vineyard, if you built a house. These are the major purposes of life. And the idea here is you want to fulfill the major purposes of life, and or experience the major purposes of life. That's what I draw from that. And also, if you're afraid, then you discourage others. Perhaps even if you have a bride and she's back home, you haven't married her yet, you're probably talking about her, thinking about it. You're probably not concentrating on the war either. And these are probably the things that people think about the most. Having children, building a house, earning a living, and just plain out fear. These are also part of the things that would distract you. And a soldier can't be distracted. He is in battle, and people die in battle. So this is what I think is going on here. Also, Moses gives this little history lesson. Maybe you want this spy thing to come up again. When you come up with chariots, don't be afraid of them. God brought you out of Egypt. He did battle for you then. He'll do battle for you again when you take these cities. And the idea of the cities, you don't. The idea is not to go to war. No one wants to go to war. You seek terms of peace. And if they don't want to be amenable to peace, then you go to war and you drive them out. Some may think this is a little harsh, but who owns this land anyway? God owns the land, and if he wants, first it says, hey, I'm giving the land to my people, or these people, because you're a bunch of idol worshippers, and you can change your ways or get out. But the land belongs to God. Didn't belong to those people. Didn't belong to the indigenous people. The land belongs to God, and he has the right, being the landlord, to throw anyone out of that land for any reason he chooses. And I think that's all I have.
And it's something I think it's in the part before when it talked about early here. No, it's part before when it talks about the first thing when they get ready to go to battle, who comes out first?
Or the priest comes out
priest.
first.
The priest. The priest come out first. And it almost sounds again like Gideon's army. It named all these things. If you're afraid, that eliminates you. And you would think that what will you be left with? Will you be left with a stronger army if you eliminate all those things? I believe. And plus, if the priests go before you, God goes before you, then all the battle your battle is assured if God is going before you.
Now there's a group, they don't get mentioned much, but okay. I think there's a group that goes out before the soldiers and before the priest. And those are the people who pray.
The musicians? Oh, the pray. Okay.
Well, maybe the
musicians, yeah. Musicians.
Well, musicians too, but there's a group that's constantly praying.
Yes. So that's, and again, that's not the usual battle array you may see in some armies that, you send the troops out. You first send out those who are praying, the musicians, the Levites, then the troops go out. So, and again, this is because to acknowledge, I believe that God is, the battle is God's. The battle is God's. Because then they said, and you would think they first go out and start throwing arrows. No, they go and seek peace. They try to have terms of peace. So if they don't accept that, then then they go for it. So anyway, all right. So next week's Parashah is G-d from Deuteronomy 21:10 through Deuteronomy 25, 19. And it reads, G-d למלחמה על איבך, ונתנו אדוני אלוהיך בידך, ושבית shivyo. When you take the field against your enemies, and the Lord your God delivers them into your power, and you take some of them captive, then it names what happens. All right. We thank the Lord for this opportunity to study His Word, and we're getting closer to the high holy days. September 22nd, I think, is Rosh Hashanah, Yom, or Feast of Trumpets. And so things follow quickly after that, Yom Kippur, and then Sukkot. And so everybody's getting ready for that. And this is the month of Elul, when the king is in the field, when the shofar is blown every day as a wake-up call. And so they blow it every day, and the king is in the field. The king is accessible. You don't have to go to the palace to see him. He's in the field. And it's probably not guarded and everything, so you can walk up to him and say what you want to him. So this is a very special month that we seek the Messiah's face, and He is always with us, but He's a little bit closer during the month of Elul. All right. Shall we go on to our second verse of It's well with my soul? Do you have your words?
Yes. Yeah. The second verse.
Though Satan should buffet.
Though Satan? Oh, is that? Oh, okay, all right. Though Satan shall buffet, though trials shall come, let this blessed assurance control that Christ has regarded my helpless estate and has shed His own blood for my soul. It is well, with my soul, with my soul. It is well, with my soul.
And may it always be that no matter what, as Habakkuk says, no matter what happens, though the fig tree fail and there be no fruit on the vine, I think, that we will still trust in God and His purposes and what He is trying to work out by redeeming mankind. May we trust Him when things get more difficult. May we still trust Him. May we say, it is well. No matter what, it is well. It is well. And so, we say,
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Tov.
Shabbat Shalom, and have a good week. Whole world is waiting.
Sing the song of Shabbat. Whole world is waiting. Sing the song of Shabbat. Whole world is waiting. Sing the song of Shabbat. Whole world is waiting. Sing the song of Shabbat. I was so waiting to sing a song. I'm also waiting to sing the song of Shabbat. Whole world is waiting. Sing the song of Shabbat. Whole world is waiting. the sun.